Hey guys, how's it going? It's Thang, so welcome to this build guide video. So this is the Zunimassa's pet build, which is actually very similar, well, almost exactly the same as the Helltooth harness, except for a little bit different mechanics, and also the Zunimassa has 9% more extra damage reduction. So in Zunimassa, well actually in Helltooth harness, you would throw down your Wall of Death, and then that would boost, well, activate the 6-piece set bonus, and things will die because of your Gargantuan is your DPSer. So within Zunimassa itself, pretty much almost the exact same thing, except for instead of throwing Wall of Death, you throw down any mana spender that has to hit the enemies to get that bonus on those enemies. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah, so well, it kind of allows you to play the pet build in Seasonal Journey when you get either Helltooth Harness or the Zunimassa, so you're not like scramble or like wobbly in place. Anyways, so have a look at the little clip, and I'll see you very soon right afterwards. Okay. So, welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that little clip. As you've seen, it's almost exactly the same as the Helltooth Harness, but a little different. Your fetishes is not really your DPS. It actually allows you to increase your toughness so that it has more survivability. 9% more than the Helltooth Harness one, which is kind of nice, whatever. Anyway, so we're going to jump into stats priority first before we jump into anything, because that's mostly important for you to remember what you have for stats priority for your items and all the other stuff. Okay, main stats priority is going to be critical chance, then critical damage, then your gargantuan damage as high as possible, and then area plus damage as high as possible, and of course lastly is cold damage on your bracers, because that's where it is, and also your necklace if you can do that too. Okay. Alright, so for your items, we do need the full 6-piece set bonus of Zunimassa, but we only need 5 pieces. So we need the gloves, the chest, the legs, the boots, and also the mojo right here to give us the 6-piece set bonus. And we also have the Ring of Royal Grandeur as well, so don't worry about that. So the 2 pet beat bonus, 2 pet beats, oh that sounds so weird. Anyways, 2 pet can you say that fast? Anyways, 2 set piece bonus, your fetish armies last until they die, and the cooldown of your fetish army is reduced by 80%. So mainly it's really for the increase in toughness and survivability. Like I've mentioned, your fetishes is not really about their damage at all, okay, so don't worry about that. Number 4, you and your pets take 3% less damage for every fetish you have alive. So mainly your fetish skill will give you 8, and also the belt of transcendence will give you an extra 15, which adds up to 23, which gives you to 69% damage reduction. So that is really great right there. More survivability, right? Number 6, enemies hit by your mana spenders take 25% 100 increased damage from your pets for 8 seconds. So that is the main goal right here. So mainly you hit with your mana spender and AoE that will hit like, you know, a huge spot, and then let your gargantuan kill everything off, especially with Paragon Levels, just, you know, suck everything in and everything just dies. Okay, so that's how that 6-piece set bonus works. Next is going to be Belt of Transcendence. Summon a fetish when you hit with a mana spender. And this is very important because we want as much fetish out as we can. Oh, as much fetish as out as we can. Oh my god, that sounds so bad. Anyways, as much fetish as we want, as we can, so that it will give us an extra 15 plus our skill as well. Like I mentioned, 23, which multiplies by 3 equals 69%. Okay, so this belt is very important, period. Next is going to be our ring, and also our next, which is the Endless Walk. The Compass Rose and Traveler's Pledge. While moving, damage taken is reduced by 50%, while standing still, damage is increased by up to 100%. Okay. Then we have our weapon, which is our Sacred Harvester, and then Lukumba's Ornament, which synergizes with each other. Reduce all damage taken by 6% for each stack of Soul Harvest you have, and Soul Harvest now stacks up to 10 times. I think these two are like required period for pretty much all of the Witch Doctor builds, so no brainer there. Next is going to be the Short Man's Finger. The Gargantuan instead summons 3 smaller Gargantuan, each more powerful than ever before. Increases our AoE, of course. And then we have the Mask of Jerem. Pets deal X amount, so 75 to 100% increase in damage right there. So of course we will have that. Now we can actually use the Tasker and Theo if whichever one is better, i.e. like whichever gloves or helm is better, you use that instead. Okay, so that's really up to you. Lastly is going to be our shoulders. Now there's none really good shoulders, to be honest with you, except for Pauldrons of the Skeleton King, in my opinion, but it's very hard to get because it comes from the Horadric cache, and hopefully it is ancient because then you can actually augment it. When receiving fatal damage, there is a chance that you are instead restored 25% of maximum health, life, and cause nearby enemies to flee in fear. So I think this is one of the best ones to have. So that's pretty much our gears. I do have 2 more items in there, but we'll do that at the end of the video where it's an alternative to the main build right here. Okay, so for our Kanai cube, we do have the furnace in here because it will help us kill the elite and also the Rift Garden. No brainer. Tasker and Theo, you can switch this with the Mask of Jerem, so whichever stats is better on either the gloves or the helm, okay? And lastly, if Ring of Royal Grandeur to help us achieve that 6-piece set bonus. Okay, so now for our legendary gems, we have the Bane of the Trap right there, and then we have the Enforcer, and lastly is going to be a Bane of the Stricken. For our normal gems, we have our orange gems into our sockets right there, and then for our weapon, of course, it's going to be the green gem, and lastly is going to be the purple gem in our helm, and that's it for gems. For Paragon Levels, we want maximum in movement speed, so whatever your boots and rings match up to, and then match this up to 25%, which is maximum, and then everything else into intelligence right there. Offensiveness, you want critical hit chance, critical hit damage, attack speed, and then reduce cooldown reduction last. Defense, resist all armor, life regen, and then life. Utility, I would say area damage, then life per hit, then probably gold or resource cost reduction. That's up to you. Alright, so now for our skills, which is, like I said, exactly the same as the Helltooth Harness, except for one skill different. Okay, so our main skill is going to be the Gargantuan with Humongord right here. So this will allow us to do a lot of AoE damage with his Cleave. Soul Harvest with Language for survivability, even more survivability. Fetish Army, Legions of Army. So usually this will only give us, well, the Legion of Army only, Fetish Army only gives us 5. Legion of Daggers give us an extra 3. So that's 8 in total of our fetishes. Next is Piranhas with Piranha to increase damage, and everything just gets sucked in. So there we go. And then Spirit Walk with John, so that we can stand still a little bit longer for 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds. And our skill right here that I personally use, you can use other skills if you want to. A lot of people use other skills. So I use Acid Cloud because Acid Cloud covers a radius of 24 yard versus a normal, I don't know, normal of a what, I don't know, 15 yard, I think. I don't remember. Anyways, but it covers a huge yard, so you don't have to do much. Like I mentioned in my stream, the less click per minute that I have to do, the better. So you can change this into actually Hunt with Poison Spirit. This is more interactive, so it's really up to you whether you want to either or. If you want to climb the ladders higher and faster, go for Hunt's Poison Spirit. That's up to you, right? And then that's it for the skills. For the passive skills, Confidence Ritual. Actually, so if you're using Acid Cloud, go for Pierce of the Veil, so that way you get more damage, because we're going to be using the Acid Cloud a lot. But if you're using Haunt a lot, then I would suggest with the Confidence Ritual, so that way you don't lose a lot of mana, because you do need to cast it, right? So that's up to you right there. Spirit Vessel of Cheat Death. Graven Justice, so that you can do a lot more Piranha. The more you do, the better it is. And also Jaunt as well, right there, so you can stand still so that you can increase your damage even more. And lastly is Midnight Feast. And that's it for your skills. Okay, so for our follower, I use our Templar actually, because he does have Cheat Death with Guardian, and also Heal, and also Life Regeneration. It's up to you if you want to use other things. It's up to you. For our Templar, I use his Immortal Relic, Thunder Fury to decrease damage done by enemies, well, attack speed done by enemies anyway. S of Johan to pull everything together. And that's actually really cool. So it's an extra Piranha, but even more powerful if it actually procs. Oculus to increase our damage when we're actually standing inside the ring. And then lastly is Wayward right here. Wyward right here, so that it actually synergizes with the Thunder Fury. So that way, when the Thunder Fury procs, this has a 25-35% chance to stun for 1.5 seconds. Okay, and that's pretty much it for our follower. Alright, so before, as I mentioned, there is an alternative way to actually mix this build up a little bit so you're more interactive if you're that type of a person. So instead of using, actually we're going to be using Conventions of Element to increase our damage even more by 200%, especially when it turns cold like right now. You know, your Gargantuan would do so much more damage. So we're going to be using the Helm of Zunimassa and Conventions of Elements instead of the Short Man's Finger right there. But in our Kunai Cube, we're actually going to be using the Short Man's Finger as our ring, and then instead of Tasker and Theo, we're going to be using the Mask of Jerem. Yeah, simple as that, right? And for our skills, we're going to switch that up just a little bit. So we're going to use Swampland Attunements right here. You and your pet gain 120 physical poison, fire, and cold resistance for enemies within 20 yards. So you're going to have a lot of enemies. So no, that's going to be great. And then for our Acid Cloud, as I mentioned before, you can use Haunt. So we're going to be using Haunt with Poison Spirit right here. So that way, one, you can be more interactive if you feel like it. You know, because that's what people like to do, be interactive and, you know, press a lot of buttons, because I just kills my keyboard a lot. But yeah, that's an alternative way to actually for the Zunimassa set, if you want to choose that way. Anyways, that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, a thumbs up would definitely be appreciated, and don't forget to press subscribe for future content. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys later. I love ya. Bye. Mwah.